Hello and welcome to NJ Biz Conversations. I'm your host, Jeff Kanaj. My guest today is Dr. Jeffrey Senese. He is the president of Caldwell University. Dr. Senese, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thanks for joining me. You took over as president of the university just about a year ago. We haven't spoken since then, so congratulations, first of all.
Thank you so much.
I'm curious, the obvious question, you've been doing the job for almost a year now. How's it going? Is it everything you expected, or what have you taken away so far?
Yeah, I mean, great question. Yeah, it's been going really well. I started July 10th.
Right.
So we are right now about 30% above last year's enrollment
Okay.
across all categories. So I came in and, both myself and the senior team, we rolled up our sleeves and faculty have been helping, staff have been helping. We're going to be booming this fall for
Okay.
sure.
Right. Well, enrollment obviously was an issue, and among many in sort of higher education landscape, and I want to get into that. Was that the biggest challenge early on? I mean, when you came in, did you say, "Yeah, we really got to work on that," or was there something else that you think was sort of immediately obvious to you that you needed to get to work on?
Yeah, I think enrollment's the number one thing because that's our revenue source. So certainly communications is always an issue at universities, believe it or not. We are very people intense communities, so communications is something that needs to be rich and routine and
Certainly.
trustworthy, that kind of thing. Data is always an issue right now that you need the whole old saying, garbage in, garbage out. You need good data to make good decisions. So looking at that ethos of making decisions using data, and that includes financial data, but also all sorts of other evaluative data. So I think those two issues really were the big issues that we've been looking at this year. We engaged a partnership with the New York Jets to increase our brand presence in the larger community. And that's part of the communication issue, right? That we needed
Right.
to address.
Okay. All right. Was there anything that surprised you that when when you took over? Something that you didn't expect to see or didn't expect to have to deal with?
I don't think surprises. I was a president before I came here,
It's
so I
St.
don't.
Leo University in Florida, we should say, right?
Correct.
Yes. Right.
Correct. So I don't think any big surprises other than, the people are always different. And the sisters, they're absolutely lovely, but they have other concerns and it's, always coming into a new environment, trying to learn what the culture is and what people really want to do and what they're capable of doing. I think there's a series of little surprises in all of that.
Okay. Now you mentioned some of your previous experience. You worked actually all over the country, all over the world. What drew you to New Jersey?
First of all, the pizza, but
Oh, good, good. Well, yeah, the state's boosters will be glad to hear that, certainly.
more seriously. So, I was looking for this my last gig. I'm not gonna move again. I'm going to finish my career here, hopefully. If I'll,
Interesting. Okay.
we're looking for a place. My wife and I are both from the Northeast.
Oh,
We wanted to be in the Northeast. We wanted to be in and around a city. We're very urban people in that way, and I wanted to be at a place where I could make a huge difference. And I think Caldwell is that kind of place. I think even in the year, there's a lot of great institutions in this area where I now have colleagues and I like working with partners as well. We have a really deep partnership with Essex County College, and we're looking at others like that. I think it's that kind of environment where people are used to working together and partnering. That's an attraction as well.
okay. What do you hope to get from those sorts of partnerships? What's the goal when you have those kinds of discussions? What are you
Yeah.
thinking of?
Sure. So Essex County College agreement is a clean 2+2, what we call a 2+2. If a student finishes and graduates from Essex with an associate degree, they come to Caldwell University as a junior. And we
Okay.
give them a special financial package to make that easy for them to continue on and get their bachelor's degree. It's not every field, but concentrated in business fields where we think it makes the most sense. But it's more of trying to serve the community more writ large.
Okay. Well, you actually then perfectly teed up the next question, which has to do with affordability. when I've spoken to some of your peers in similar positions at other schools, that's one of their main issues is how do we, as first of all, as an institution, how do we address that? And I'm curious as to what you see your role. Let's talk first about the individual institution's role in making it more affordable, getting a college education more affordable.
Yeah, and if you look at where our price point is for the privates, we're middle of the road with the privates, but with discount, we're very competitive with the publics right now. So you
Okay.
can go to Caldwell University for 15,000 a year
Yep.
on average. So we're always looking for scholarship funds. So I've raised in my short time here $2.7 million. And that's, what my role is to find donors who are interested in supporting us with scholarship funds for our students. We have a very generous situation in the state of New Jersey with TAG grants and Pell, where we can make it work for students that have high need and high merit. They can essentially come here without laying out any money out of pocket,
Okay.
other than books probably. But we work hard to keep ourselves in an affordability range that makes sense for the marketplace.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to hear from the sort of institutional perspective. I wonder then about what the rest of the higher education system. Let's start in the state and then the nation. Does the system itself have to change to address the affordability question?
I think there's no question about that. I think the economic data still indicates a substantial return on a college degree,
Right.
but the margins are getting tighter over time. So, Oregon does a program where it's a reverse payment model where it's sort of like a mortgage. You pay it over the course of your career rather than at the front end. I think
Okay.
creative models like that make sense for people out there. I think we need to get a handle on whether students are going to go through the luxury of attending campus. So it is a luxury to live on campus and to have residential classes as opposed to online. And increasingly, adult students in particular are looking at online as a value proposition to
Okay.
cut down some of the costs. But we've got to help with that too.
All right. And are do you have a fairly significant online component to what you're doing, or is that how big a role does that play?
Only a couple of hundred students
Okay.
right now, but it's I can't St. Leo, we had 7,000 students online. So
Okay. Wow.
we're not going to go to 7,000 here in any time in the near future, but certainly more than a couple hundred makes sense. It's who our market is. We're Hispanic serving institution, lots of other diversity, majority students too, obviously, but you look at Jersey. Jersey's a net export state for higher ed. Our kids leave the state in larger numbers than any other state because our families have money and because
Right.
they're smart kids and they want to go to Duke or wherever they want to go. So who remains? It's the students that a place like Caldwell serves. They're working, they have started families. That's who we want to serve. So we've got to serve them where they are, and that's online.
Okay. And I'm guessing that those students then pretty much stay in New Jersey, or at least
Yeah.
close to home once they graduate. Is that
Right.
the way the progression goes?
I think that's true. And St. Leo in Florida, 50% of our students came from this area. We had 110,000 alum, 30,000 of them were from greater New York.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And here's what happens. They stay in Florida for a little while and then they figure out that they want to go home.
Hmm.
So you'll see that a lot, and we've seen that a lot in our alum in at Caldwell. But I think you see that long term because hey, there's no place like home, and Jersey's a cool place.
Absolutely, no question about it. Okay, where does Caldwell University fit in the state and regional landscape of higher education? What do you want students and well, let's talk about prospective students first of all, because that's the folks you're trying to convince to come there. How do you want them to view the university as they're making the decision about where they're going to continue their education?
Yeah, that's a great question. We are a teaching and learning university that gets you ready for the future. So not your first job, but all your jobs. So like get you in the situation where you're ready for your career. And we're a teaching and learning university. That doesn't mean that our faculty aren't scholars and do scholarship, but their primary focus is on students and their goal, their teaching and learning goals. If you want to be a cop, we're going to get you to the point where you have that preparation. You want to be an accountant. We're focused on you, not focused on faculty scholarship. It's a different model than the research universities, and we don't need to compete on that level because we want to serve students. We are
Okay.
about the students.
Okay, well, makes sense. Now, university presidents have been the subject of a lot of scrutiny recently. I'm wondering how you view the role of a president of a campus, particularly in a time like this where there are divisions that can sometimes show up on campus among students. How do you view your role? Are you an advocate for one side or the other? Are you a peacemaker, a mediator? Where do you fit in when things like these things happen? When protests happen? When students get engaged in the politics of or the debates of the day?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a tightrope. I have opinions and I express my opinions. I don't, especially with regard to the protests and so forth, take sides. We had a protest on campus. We allowed it. It was peaceful and managed well by the students, managed well
Okay.
by us. And we let both sides express their opinions. But I am a thought leader and I am going to express my opinion, and I do. I am very active on LinkedIn. I posted something this weekend. I can get 10,000 people to look at things that I post, and
Okay.
I talk about it. And I think presidents are obligated, we shouldn't be political animals, but we should be thought leaders. We should express uh, important issues of the day and express where our institution is or isn't on a particular issue. And we've lost a lot of that, presidents. And the whole watching the hearings, I think President Holloway did a good job. I think the Ivy presidents thought that they were going in for a legal briefing instead of what they got, and that's unfortunate. But we have to express our institutional values, and I will do that. I will not hesitate to do that.
And has that changed over as you mentioned, you've been a
Oh yeah.
university. This is not your first rodeo. So has this changed over the years, as far as you can tell?
Oh my God, absolutely. You have to
Okay.
pay attention to everything, and social media has taken over a lot of our media attention, quite frankly, and you've got to be careful with how you post and what you post and all that sort of thing. And we have people monitoring things in the background. So there's a lot more of that. It's created a lot more complexity than existed when it was straight print media.
Okay. All right. Before I let you go, I'm curious about your priorities for the future. What should students or other stakeholders expect from you and from the university over the next couple of years? So
Yeah,
you say this is your last this is your last go around. So
yeah.
how are you going to make it the best?
Yeah, no, that's a great opportunity. I think if you look at us, we are very strong in the counseling areas, including the first doctorate in essentially autism studies. So I think expanding our bandwidth there into other areas of counseling, like art therapy or mental health counseling in different flavors. We have a very strong business school that's focused on computer science. So we are right now designing programs that look at artificial intelligence
Okay.
and robotics, that sort of more technical aspect of it. We at our foundation have a liberal arts base, and that'll continue, but it'll continue in a much more professionally oriented way. So if you're an English major, you're not going to graduate and not work. You're not going to go out there and talk about the great works, but you have an incredible skill with uh, taking a lot of information, making sense of it, and communicating it effectively. There are plenty of jobs in that area. So I think connecting the liberal arts to practical professional work is a goal as well. You'll see more expansion of graduate programming, both on the sciences side. We have a very strong nursing program that our nurses passed their exam at 100% this year.
Ah, good.
Expanding that in ways that make good sense for the university and for the community. We were working with Barnabas and some of the other hospital systems, and I think continuing that work. Think about the longer term future. So this the final thing I'll leave you with is
Sure.
um, it's going to be do you need to attend every single class? Are there virtual experiences that can substitute for attending class. Like right now, it's goggles and immersive environments. It won't be like that all the time, but you will not need, you and I could be in the same room in a virtual room, and it'll feel like we're together in that kind of environment. So we're starting with augmented reality right now, but we will develop, think about the holodeck on Star Trek. That kind of model is something that is very real at some institutions. Arizona State, I work very closely with President Crow out there. They have an environment like that. We're going to develop something like that at Caldwell.
Okay, well, that's very cool, and I'd love to see that when you get that up and running. That sounds.
Look at you.
I mean, first of all, I'm a huge Star Trek fan, so I would love to see a holodeck actually working. Okay, very good.
It does
Okay,
exist.
okay.
It does exist.
All right. Dr. Jeffrey Senese, president of Caldwell University, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it too. Take care.
And thank you all for watching. Until next time, stay safe, everyone.